I'll take that as a yes. Okay, so let's move on to midpoint then. Let's move on to midpoint. Now, the clue is kind of in the name to what this means. So any guesses? What is a midpoint? Absolutely, it's the point in the middle, okay? So I've got 2 points on there. I've got A and B. So A is positioned at 2, 3, and B is positioned at 6, 5, okay? Where would the midpoint be? Can anybody point on the screen to where the midpoint should be round? Yeah, good. Yeah. So we are looking, we're pretty much pointing at the same position. We are looking at this point here. Now this wasn't too bad because we can kind of see from this, but as soon as we start going negatives and as soon as we sort of start getting into horrible decimal numbers, it becomes a little bit more tricky. So what I want to do is formalize this idea. How did you know that C, the point which I've just drawn on there, how did you know that that was the middle point? How could you think about this? So effectively what you've got on the screen is something that looks like this. So A is here, B is here, and you've told me that C is the point in the middle. Point is C here. Anybody got any ideas for how we could do this properly?
You have to A and B together.
Yep. Good, exactly. So what you're doing here is you're thinking, C is in the middle. So it means it's not just in the middle of this line, it's in the middle of the x and y components of B. So if you do exactly the same thing as you did before and you look at the difference in the x coordinates between A and B, the difference in the y coordinates of A and B, C should lie slap bang in the middle of each of those. It should be slap bang in the middle of the x coordinate and slap bang in the middle of the y coordinate. Okay? So really the way which you can think about this, C is almost like a median. Okay? It's the one in the middle. So median is a type of average. So if I was going to take the average of the x coordinates, average of the y coordinates, that should give me the point in the middle. Okay? So I'm basically saying, right, okay, look at the midpoint of 2 and 6. So the midpoint would be 2 plus 6 divided by 2. Yeah? Look at the midpoint of 3 and 5, so the point in the middle of 3 and 5. That would be 3 plus 5 divide 2. Okay? What do you get for C? So 2 plus 6 is 8. Divided by 2, you get 4. And then 3 plus 5 is 8 again. Divide by 2, you get 4. Is that okay? Yeah. So if I was going to formalize this then, if I said, okay, A is just x1, y1, exactly the same as before, and B is x2, y2, exactly the same as before, where would the midpoint be? Well, I'm going to call it M for midpoint. Okay. How would I calculate the midpoint from x1, y1 and x2, y2? Good. Good, so basically I add the two x coordinates together and then divide by 2. I'm literally just taking an average of the two. And then, exactly, same with the y coordinates. So average of the x coordinates, average of the y coordinates.